Yeah, I think it's an album that you want to listen to it as a whole, which I'm very proud of. I don't think that there's any duds on it. And I think when you listen to it in sequence, you will enjoy it that much more, which I think, like, as a music listener, is something that I always want out of an album, or at least helps me to like stick with something. Like, songs are cool, I like singles, but I want to have an album be my favorite album. You know what I mean? So I think for me, it was a hard thing where I wasn't sure if we would get there, but for me, this is my favorite Fit album.
Nice.
I really love listening to it. I think Ryan poured his heart out on it in a way that is like new and refreshing for our band, because he's a like pretty like quiet, very sincere man, and he's gone through a lot of shit on top of the whole pandemic crap that everyone went through a lot of other shit that just changed the landscape of his world. And the whole goal of this record was like, we're going to lift him up and we're going to milk him and we're going to fucking get the darkest, hardest shit out of him. And he crushed it. He really, really did. So it's cool. I think that there's a new side of the band that people will get out of this album. I'm glad you like End, though. I love that song too. I think it's a really, really well-rounded Fit song.
It's a banger.
It's kind of got everything you want out of it.
So yeah, I agree. That is, of the ones that have been released, that's my favorite. It's interesting you say it's a full album, because the release schedule has been the way you guys did is very common, right? 4 out of 10, almost half.
I would have already released it. If I could turn back time, I wouldn't have not put out Times Like These as a single, and the record would already be out. Would have come out with Falling Through the Sky. We talked about it a little bit. I think that's, now waiting sucks.
Yeah.
It's like one of those things that still we're all figuring out how to have our rollouts be less antiquated and, not like do it the old dinosaur way, but still be able to like have a good rollout and get pre-orders and like generate sales and, make some money off the fucking thing. So it's a delicate balance. Sorry to interrupt you.
No, yeah, that you're exactly what we're thinking. Like today with the internet and with everybody being able to get stuff, at any moment's notice, are you trying to keep content going leading up to the album release? Is that why? So that's why just about half the record is out?
Yeah. And, I think either The Path or Dark Skies, we released Dark Skies, we released 5 singles. And the hard part is you release singles to try to generate more like hype, more streams building up into the release of the album because it looks better and helps you in the past, I think, to claim your status a little better. Mm-hmm. But the times have changed a little bit. And
true,
there's stuff where the best example right now is Bad Omens. Their singles, they garnered attention. But the album, that shit is fucking flawless. Mm-hmm. And it's proven because now they're selling out 2,500 cap clubs pre-sale, entire tour pre-sale.
Wow.
So it's, I think, as much as people love singles, there is still a really awesome mystique that comes with perfect albums. I would say totally. That's one of the strongest, best albums, probably the best seen alternative album since Sempiternal.
It's interesting. I'm going back and forth in my head because the old school model, when we used to buy CDs when we were growing up in the 90s, if you didn't like the single, you're like, well, fuck that album. I'm not buying it. Yep. Now you guys are almost giving a few appetizers and you're like, well, this restaurant seems cool. I'm in,
Yeah, you have to kind of give a well-balanced display of for instance, the reason why we did Reaper first is because what was the number one complaint of The Path? It wasn't heavy enough. So we gave you, not enough breakdowns. So we gave you guys some breakdown. And then, End is, I think, a really great, well-balanced Fit for a King song. Kind of if you like When Everything or if you like The Price of Agony, it's kind of right in between there, right? And then Falling Through the Sky is just my favorite. I love that song. I think it's fucking awesome. And for everyone that's they're, doing sellout rock songs, so totally not the fucking case. And there's a really beautiful story that goes to that song. And like, for one, the guy is talking about how he's at the maximum stress level of his life because his wife just almost died and he adopted 2 kids that are preteens. So,
Wow.
during the pandemic. So that's just the backstory for this entire record. His wife had a stroke. She had an aneurysm, has like multiple blood clots in her brain. And her brother's kids had been in the foster care system and been to 17 homes, needed to be adopted. So they adopted, at the time, his daughter was 14 and the son was like 8. She just turned 16. And when you go from not being a parent at all, and I'm not, so speaking of which, I'm not a parent at all, but when you go from not being a parent to having a teenager, not the easiest task in the world, you know? So he had all of that on top of, is my business going to die? You know, will people give a shit about my band when we come back? Will I be able to make money? What's going to happen? And all of that was poured into this album because it was one of those things where it was clear to all of us, like, yeah, we're all having a hard time. My man's got the biggest plate for sure. Like, no doubt. So, you know, when you're listening to a song like Falling Through the Sky, you know, I have this great memory where I'm sitting out on the porch and Kirby comes outside and he's just like, dude, I wrote this chorus. Like, can I sing it for you? And he doesn't really do stuff like that a lot, you know? And he comes out and he sings it to me and he shows me the lyrics. And I was just like, yeah, dude, that's it. Like, that's the fucking song. And that's the chorus of Falling Through the Sky, you know? And I don't know, it's a special one. I think that one deserves to get that like extra love for that reason, you know? But the whole album has that connectability to it, in my opinion.
I love stories like that where like there wasn't like, you know, band meetings or a producer like trying to mold a big chorus. It just fucking hit him. The message was there. So you're like, that's it. That's it.
Yeah, man. And it is rare because we do like, you know, work with, you know, a producer like that where we are like, we've had those times where we are just aiming for that shit. But then you get those moments that are just really pure. And that was one of them. It's awesome. So, you know, maybe that's why I like it as much, because I have that like memory attached to it. But I think it's a hell of a track. Yeah. And then times like these, or times like this, has Jonathan Vigil, which is so sick.
He's
the man.
Yeah.
His voice is insane. And couldn't be more stoked to have a guy like that on